आकाश भाई क्या हाल है, कैसे हो आप?
सब ठीक है भैया, आप बताइए।
गाली गलौज?
हाँ, सब गाली जानते हैं। Yeah, I'm American to you guys. I grew up my whole life here being Indian, but then when I go to India, I'm like, my soul feels like it's home. I can't describe it any other way.
Anyway, the Gujaratis have taken over Indian Americans, right? I don't like that they're the most dominant community.
Yeah, haven't they taken over India?
Ambani, Adani, Modi,
Oh, look good. Ambani, Shah, Modi, yeah, they got it. They're running it, dude. I love putting sugar in everything. It's awesome. Dokla, that's great. It doesn't feel like I'm eating a sponge with salt and pepper. I want them to be more accepting of comics before I go over there.
It was just a one-time thing, I think.
It was a two-time thing. Munawar,
Sure.
and then Ranveer and Samay.
After that, I think politics has left comedy aside for a while. आकाश भाई क्या हाल है, कैसे आप?
अरे सब ठीक है भैया, आप बताइए।
मैं बढ़िया यार। आपने हिंदी बोलनी कब सीखी?
बचपन में नहीं बोले।
हाँ।
शायद 22 साल में न्यूयॉर्क में थे एक
हाँ।
बोडेगा था मेरे पास,
हाँ।
मेरे सामने, तो उसके साथ वो नेपाली आदमी थे,
हाँ।
तो उसके साथ में हिंदी।
नेपालियों से हिंदी सीखी?
जी। इस हिंदी सीखे नहीं, लेकिन बहुत प्रैक्टिस की उसके साथ।
हाँ।
बोल सकते, बोल पाए बचपन में, लेकिन बहुत कम।
गाली गलौज?
हाँ, सब गाली जानते।
बहनचोद, मादरचोद?
हाँ, चूतिया कहीं का। Yeah.
That's so funny. It is. You're fluent in it. You can understand it.
I can. Well, I get tired because it requires a lot of focus for me.
Sure.
And I'm very self-conscious about my accent because you guys always make fun of it. So
I think it's the other way around with the.
see, that's funny because when we go to India, and especially when it's like मैं आ रहा हूँ, मैं आ रहे हैं, I don't know. आप आ रहे हैं, I don't know, like that little thing. And so my parents would just giggle every time I try to practice and I fucked it up. Or like people in India would make fun of my accent. And it's a thing we feel here and y'all feel there about us.
Yeah, it's very possible though. Your accent is very possible. Like I would
thank you.
almost hire you in a racist Indian a movie that's racist about Indians. But I will say, I actually ended up watching a clip of you and Sagar and Jeti.
Yeah.
That gentleman who does that news show. I don't know what he
Breaking
does.
Points. He's the best.
Breaking Points.
I love him.
And you guys were having a little banter about being Rajputs and Brahmins, right?
Okay,
Like something along that lines.
Yeah.
I sort of understood that you're a Rajput by descent, right?
Yeah.
In India, caste is huge. I just spent half a month in India with a bunch of Rajputs in Rajasthan,
Yeah.
driving their jeeps, right? Drinking very stiff whiskey,
Yeah.
and doing dangerous things.
Yeah.
And I've been documenting the strangeness of castes in India. Are the caste equations also prominent among the Desis
No.
living? No?
Not really, because there's not enough of us. So, like, all these things that matter when you have 1.4 billion people, you just divide, and you all look more or less similar. You divide in very specific ways. Here, there's 1% of the population is South Asian. So we can't really, now Gujaratis, we know Gujarati, Punjabi. I'm from UP, so they don't even know what bhaiyas are really. Like,
Bhaiyas?
I'm a bhaiyas. They don't really. I didn't even learn that till recently.
Yeah.
So like, it's just not quite. And we'll make jokes, and I'll make jokes, and some Indians get offended by it. Some younger Indians are like, but to me, growing up, that was what we did. So we made the jokes about the Malus or whatever, and they'd make jokes about us. But that's it. Caste doesn't play a big role. It always was like funny to me that caste played a big role in India.
But you're so spot on with, in your crowd work shows, I saw you were able to guess how this one guy who was Kerala Christian.
Yeah.
And he said his name is Jason John.
Mm-hmm.
And I lost it.
Yeah.
How did you acquire the way of observing the very subtle nuances of the Desi Brown community? Because that's super subtle.
Yeah, that's why I like that bit, is because it's subtle. I think, I'm sure there's bits where it's less like, it's more broad or whatever, but I think trying to lock into the very minutia of what makes you guys you. So that was the thing I noticed. We had a lot of Malus in my college, and Joby and whoever, and Jason and John and JC and Jinsey, and it was always like, what is that J name thing? And then I heard one of them be like, yeah, it's almost always a J name. So then that was the thing I remembered. You just remember these things over the course of your life, and then when it comes applicable in a crowd work situation, it's like, okay, there you go. And I didn't know, but I took an educated guess, and it happened to be right.
Yeah. Do you enjoy crowd work?
I love it. To me, it's the most honest moment in that show. Because I'm sure there's times I get nervous and I reuse a line here and there. But for the most part, this interaction is never going to happen again. And it's pure. It's pure. So before YouTube and needing to upload content all the time, before comedians were doing that, crowd workers were like frowned upon. But me and Andrew and whatever, we came up in and Michael Blaustein, we came up in a comedy club where like, it wasn't even a comedy club. It was a downstairs of a bar. We would be upstairs. We would try to get you in off the street. And sometimes we would do shows for 5 people. So if I just do my jokes at you, it feels very weird. I have to talk to you. And then if I want to work on a joke, I slide it into that conversation. So that what became the way I did comedy. And then I started to feel like, no, this is actually, I can't just hop into jokes. It's so unnatural. It feels like, I want it to feel more like a conversation than a show. If I had to, it's a show, it's a spectacle. It should be all those other, but my set should feel like a conversation. And if I just go and start doing my jokes, that's a show, and it's like I'm watching theater.
Yeah, but you didn't necessarily come up in a formal comedy scene here in New York City.
I did, but it's not like it's all informal. Even in India, it's not like formal. You have the Habitat in Bombay. You have people in New Delhi.
Did you do shows at Habitat?
I did shows in Habitat. Yeah.
How was that like?
Before it was destroyed. It was fun. I
was there that night actually. It got destroyed.
Really? Were you throwing any chairs?
I was in one of the shittier shows upstairs.
Really?
Because the show that got destroyed had someone doing a poem and a comedy mix, which I wasn't very interested in. So I went to a lineup show.
Yeah, I would have destroyed that club too. The fuck are you doing, dude? Come on, Balraj. Okay.
So, but I was there and I witnessed I was actually one of the first guys to tweet about it.
Really?
I found someone, a bystander outside.
Yeah.
Who had the video, and I asked him to airdrop the video to me.
Yeah.
And I had 20,000 followers on Twitter, and I posted it within 5 minutes of the incident. And then in the morning, I get a call from Barkha Dutt, who's one of India's biggest journalists, to be on her show.
Really?
Not as a podcaster, but just as a bystander.
It's a little insulting, right?
I mean, it is what it is. She's a cool person, and I was very happy to get on and give my 2 cents on those, TV panel debate kind of thing where...
Can you give your 2 cents, or is it more like you give a half a cent?
Well, you can give your full cent, basically, but I think the issue is the people on those panels are all serial yappers, but in the most unattractive way, where at least podcasters will have a long-form conversation and then it's cut out into clips. Those guys are just functionaries of parties, or sometimes they get paid by TV channels to just be on.
Okay, interesting.
So they will basically bond before the conversation starts and then start throwing names. And they're so used to vitriol and symbolism and, using, how do I say it? Like, they use slogans. And if you're trying to make points, they speak over you. But thankfully, in my case, that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
But you said you performed at Habitat. What was that like?
It was great. I loved it. I loved that room. I loved the vibe. I was there in 2019. I did shows with some other Indian comics from America. It was a lot of fun. Then I went back and headlined in the end of that year, or maybe I think it was the end of 2019. So I did twice that year, and Balraj and I got close. I think he's great. And then I didn't get to perform there because I got a little nervous as my profile started raising and comics are getting thrown in jail over there and stuff like that. So I would only do pop-up shows. It's important for me to perform in India.
Why?
It's home, and I know you guys. I'm American to you guys. I grew up my whole life here being Indian, but then when I go to India, even if I don't fit in, even if you know I'm American or you think I'm American, I'm like, my soul feels like it's home. I can't describe it any other way. My inside, I go, this is home. I don't know if I can live here. I don't know if I can survive here, but the Atman, this is home.
Do you think this sentiment is echoed by many other Indians?
I don't know. I'm not even saying that arrogantly or like trying to like be self-righteous. I don't want to speak for them because I truly, some might not. I know people who actually went to India and were like, nah, I'll never go back. I know Americans who feel that way. I know Indians who try to go back. I know a lot of Indians who pretend they're very Indian and I see why you guys, this last trip when I did a podcast run, I started to really understand why Indians in India resent Indians in America. And I put myself in this category. I can kind of put on my Indianness like a costume without realizing it. But I don't know what's going on over there. I don't go there and like kids will say like, oh, I went to, or Indians who are 25, 30, be like, oh, I used to go to India every summer with my parents. You didn't go to India. You went to Ahmedabad. You went to wherever in Kerala. You went to wherever your parents are from. You went there for a month and then you went home. You didn't go to India. India is so much more diverse. And even just sitting in Bombay by myself and not getting to, because I was just doing podcasts and trying to talk to people about free speech, but I'd be seeing people who looked Asian, Nepali people, I guess. I don't know, people who look, saw a guy from Trinidad. And it's like, oh, India is way more diverse than any Indian American realizes, but we speak about it like we know. And we speak about Indianness. And you guys are like, you're not even Indian. What the fuck are you talking about Indianness? So I understand the resentment a lot.
This diaspora blues-like situation I've seen with many of my friends when I went to BU, where they would, like you said, feel like they're somehow more Indian from the heart, but then on the outside espouse very American values. Like one of the hardest things I had when I got here was making friends who are Indian who lived here. Is they had an idea of strong personal boundaries, and in India you're like sort of getting on top of each other, bending over backward. You're just
like
very
personal
collectivist.
Space.
Yeah, like personal space, and be very surprised sometimes to see people labeling their food in the fridge, right? Because in India you just like you just eat everything, right? Like fuck it doesn't matter. So those things I found a little difficult to bear with, but
that's so funny. I never thought of that. Yeah, it makes sense, but I never thought of that.
Yeah, but still, I would say that does it not like cause a split in your heart that you live here or practice here, but you feel at home there?
It's weird. It's like I don't know how to navigate. I'm so blessed to be born with all the opportunities that came here. If I don't think I could be what I am in India. I don't think I could be like this kind of brash, like kind of saying things.
You'd be so much poorer, man.
Yeah, and
you'd be so poor.
So I don't say that. I don't say this without understanding that like I'm very blessed. But that is a difficult part of it is our parents when they came here and sacrificed everything, they didn't understand they didn't think about that. And they still made the right decision and I'm thankful, but like they didn't think about that. Or none of I don't think this is a unique thing that we're going through.
Why'd your parents move here?
My mom moved here from my grandfather. My grandfather came when he was I don't know actually. My mom was I think like maybe 5 or 6 when he left, and then he was here for 10 years trying to get money to bring them over. So it was just my mom, my grandmother, my nanny, rest in peace, and then like my sisters. And then by the time he got money, 2 of the sisters had been married, so my mom and her younger sister came with my nanny, and they were like really struggling in India. But then when they came over here, my mom went to college, all that, had an arranged marriage with my dad, and then he came. I think my dad would have been better off in India, honestly.
Yeah, he
was good. He had passed a PCS exam. He was good. He was like a star in India. And here it's a different thing. You don't know how to navigate the culture. He's so good at Hindi. He's not as good at English. But like in India, he would have been, and I like, you're 24 years old, you're a PCS officer. His family was in politics. He was looked at as the guy that was going to ascend. And in 1978, they didn't know America, they didn't know about cultural differences and all these things that you didn't know about in 2009 or whenever you came over. They definitely didn't know about it 30 years before that. So they were just like, oh, if he's doing this great in India, he'll kill it in America. Oh my God, there's so much money over there. But it's a different thing. Like when I watch the way y'all talk to people in India who work for you, I'm like, this is fucking crazy.
There's definitely not a flat hierarchy. There's no first name basis. And especially, I mean, in newer organizations, it's changing, but there's definitely the bosses at the top.
Yeah.
And there's rampant classism.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
and my uncle had like a school and he was like, I would like for you to run this school. And my mom was like, you can't. These employees will walk all, and my mom believes in me in everything. She was like, these guys will walk all over you. You don't know how to navigate that. You don't. They'll fucking destroy you. And
Why's
I was
that?
like, because like I'm too like, hey, whenever you get a second, if you can just do this, blah blah blah, that'd be great. hey man, hey, I know you're busy, but if you could, and that's not, they don't work like that over there.
Yeah.
There is no hey.
They're used to the whip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you people might be upset about it. If you go watch the way people talk to someone, like the way go get me tea is not like, hey, can you get us a cup of tea, please?
Sure.
It's not built into the language.
It's also the hypocrisy of, I think, in poorer parts of India where there isn't too much access to global culture, it's fine. It's the norm. They don't know any better, and that's how it works. I mean, it's a problem. But what I find super funny is in places like South Delhi, South Mumbai, and these rich places, you will have these very woke Indian kids, right?
Yeah.
Talking about Palestine, talking about George Floyd. Imagine, in India, we've got casteism, we've got so many problems.
Yeah.
You talk about George Floyd, you talk about Palestine, you talk about how Trump is going to affect democracy in America, right?
Yeah.
And you make impassioned statements on Instagram, and you've got 4,000 followers, and you've got gender pronouns, and the whole thing. But when it comes to speaking to your servant, you're absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible.
I had a bit about this because I remember I headlined a show and it didn't go well, my first show in Habitat. And I was really like, it didn't go horribly, but it just didn't go well. And I was like really upset about it. And I was there because we're getting offended by a lot of things. And then I went back the next day and I said, listen, I'm getting judgmental looks by a lot of you guys. And you're acting like I'm a bad person and I don't understand equality and values. And I'm not saying you have slaves, but they're not slaves. You got a bitch doing your dishes right now. Y'all got dishes, bitches. And you don't pay them great, and you don't treat them great. So who the fuck are you to judge me?
Yeah, most of them are emaciated with like a torn vest, right? Barely surviving.
That's what I'm saying. And then, so people like, I went to Saudi, and then I'm not gonna name names, but like Indian comics were like, they have slaves over there, Indian American comics, and I was like, that's how little you go to India. That you don't understand. They went there for a better life. Like, they're in India, they're getting treated probably better, but not much better, and they're making much less money, and their family's not eating. I'm not saying what's happening there is okay, but there's problems there too, and y'all just don't have any fucking clue.
What's the deal with this uproar about comics going to Saudi Arabia and everyone getting pissed off?
It was, I think comics are getting a lot of backlash because and Flagrant is a part of this, and Andrew talked about this. We put ourselves in the political dialogue without thinking it through, honestly, where it's just like, dude, if a presidential candidate wants to come and talk to you, let's do it, and let's try to get both of them, and that'd be awesome. And I do think we can ask good, thoughtful questions. I think our podcast in particular, the people aren't, you might think I'm dumb, maybe I'm dumb, but I think I can ask a good question. So we did that. And then when Trump won and things don't seem to be going well in America, I didn't vote for him, but like, it still became, you platformed him, you got him elected, and a lot of comedians did that. And a lot of comedians made a lot of money during this kind of meteoric rise of stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think there's making money, you're in politics now, where you probably don't belong, and there's a lot of backlash, or there was a lot of resentment forming, and then this became the thing we could hop onto, where we felt like now we have moral justification to let all that resentment out. I talked it through with Andrew. I was like, do I feel weird about this? Because maybe I do. And then I realized I think free speech is important in a democracy. I've gone to Singapore and done shows. This is 10 years ago. I was very conscious of what I said because I know Singapore is not a democracy. If you go to Thailand and you speak about the emperor, you're going to go to jail. That's not a democracy. I don't have an issue with that. I think free speech is fundamental for democracy. If I go to Saudi Arabia and you police my speech, and I'm not saying this is a dig at Pakistan, but I'm just like, fundamentally, I understand Pakistan is a theocracy. So I'll perform wherever I have fans. If Pakistan was like, hey, you want to come perform for us? I would go if it wouldn't cost me an OCI card in India. But I would understand this is a theocracy. You don't get to say whatever you want to say. And if you have a problem with that, don't go, because that is the government. That's the way it's set up.
Yeah.
So I think people were like, kind of just using this as a vehicle. And then for me, I thought it out and I was like, I don't think, and then I went there and talked to locals, and for whatever it's worth, they all seem happier. They seem like there's been a ton of progress in the last 8-9 years.
Yeah. It makes sense because you don't want to impose free speech where there is no concept of free speech. You are in the cultural zeitgeist in America where there is a constant conversation about free speech because your constitution mandates it, right?
Yeah.
Anywhere else, if you try to impose those things, there's going to be consequences. I will say, I think it's very nice that comedians are making money. I mean, look at Cristiano Ronaldo, man. As soon as he was almost done retiring, he was like, fuck this.
75 million.
I'm going to play for Al Nassr.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, look, we're going to perform for the fans at the end of the day. The fans didn't ask to be born where they're born. So like, they're born in a place, they want to see your comedy. Go see the comedy. And I'll also say, the only rules to me, there was apparently a list of stuff you couldn't say. I swear to God, I didn't read it. I didn't. The only rules to me in any Muslim country, do not talk about Islam. You can talk about Muslims. I tease Muslims about how they wash their feet when they pray in the sink. And I was like, why are y'all doing it in the sink? There's a tub. You guys have tubs, which is, again, it's not a joke about Islam. It's a joke about the way Muslims do. And I understood that distinction. Don't talk about Islam and don't talk about the government. And those are the rules. That's the only things I'm not doing. Everything else, I'd made a 9/11 joke. Let's go.
Love it.
Yeah, like let's do this. You do it in a way that like you get away with it, but that's comedy.
You also interviewed Trump.
Yeah.
You met the dude.
Yeah.
You know, in my house before Trump became this media personality, billionaire. I mean, some people say even like a natural born scion of New York, and then 2-time president. He was just a bunch of books in my house because he was a big real estate guy, and my father is in real estate. So he would read the books and he would plot his success. He would sit in the house and say, how do I make it big like this guy did? We had no context about this. Then we arrived here in 2015. We were in Cambridge, right? and my
You
dad.
came with your family?
My dad came to drop me off. I was 18
Oh,
years
okay.
old.
Okay.
And you know those shitty American hotel breakfasts that are not like lavish
Yeah.
at all?
Continental breakfast?
Yes, horrible. Absolutely horrible.
My
right?
Moses was telling me the first time we went to a hotel, they had continental breakfast. He was so excited. That was why he stayed there. He said, "Oh my God, it's gonna be so big, continental." And then it's just it's a coffee and a muffin.
Yes,
That's
it
what
was
they
horrible.
eat in the continent.
So it was drab gray walls, right? Depressing
Yeah.
atmosphere. And on the TV, you've got Trump.
Yeah.
And my dad said, this guy is going to be president. Now, my dad has a habit of, how you make draft picks when you sit at home casually and you
Yeah.
think about American football. He makes that for elections in India. He just has a fun pastime of like saying who's
really?
going to win, right?
Yeah.
Completely for his own interest.
How
He
often
said-
is he right?
Extremely right. Most of the times.
Wow.
He got several state elections right. He got Lok Sabha elections. He's just a fan of politics.
Yeah.
So he said this guy's going to win. I was like, and I'm like new 18 years
Yeah.
old with like very abstract ideas of America. Papa, America is such a cool place. They will never let this guy win. You don't know
That's
how
what
it
I
is.
said.
It's a liberal country, Papa. What are you saying? Like, aapko pata hi nahi hai. And then he won. And so when he won, I had 3 of my extremely liberal Democrat roommates. They got very pissed off that I was laughing because it wasn't my country. And I think it was just hilarious to see their meltdown. They
Yeah.
literally had a meltdown.
Yeah. When Trump won in 2019, or 2016, I was walking around New York City the next day. We were all shocked. But the vibe of the city, I've heard native New Yorkers say the only other time they've seen it that sad was after 9/11. Yeah.
But you interviewed the dude.
Yeah.
They say that people who achieve great things in life have a fantastic aura. What was he like?
Very charming. Very charming.
Charming?
Yeah. And very charismatic and incredibly aware. There was this rumor going around that he might have dementia. And he's acting like a guy who's insane. But in the room, he's incredibly aware of everything. So those perceptions I had of him, or like before I met him, I was like, okay. I see how people love this guy. Like you're watching the employees, they love him. You're watching people who talk to him, interface with him day to day. And I don't just mean Trump staffers. I mean people in the Trump towers, doormen, love this guy. He's very charming. Very charming.
What does he do? Because I'm sure he's on your podcast.
Here's
He's
a
about to
perfect
win.
example of how good he is. So I don't know if this is on camera. There's a light fixture, like a lighting stand here, right? We had some big ones that we brought in to do the interview. So let's assume this lighting stand is right by me, and he needs to walk over it to get to his couch. Secret Service guy trips on it before Trump comes up, and he goes, "Can you just make sure the president doesn't trip on that? Because that'll be bad for me." So I say, "Okay," because it's right here. So I get up, I shake his hand, I say, "It's nice to meet you." I say, "By the way, watch your step right here." And he goes, "Oh, thank you for letting me know. Oof, that would have been bad." I tell you, Joe Biden would have tripped on that thing. Cameras aren't even on. This is the first thing he says to me. And I was like, fuck, this guy's good, man. That is so, right away, boom, no cameras are on, no cameras are rolling. He just has the joke ready. Joe
Right.
Biden would have tripped on that thing.
As a comedian, what did you think about his comedic timing? Was
He's
he
so
on?
good. He's so funny. He's so funny. That is the thing a flaw comedians have. If you're funny, we will overlook so much if it's funny. And the guy is funny. Like the stuff he says when he talks about how he's like not answering our question. And he's like, "You see what I do? It's called a weave. It's a beautiful thing. People say I don't know. I always come back to it." And it's just like, it's funny, man. The guy's funny. And I don't think he's doing a good job, but he's funny. I think we can say both of these things.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Do you think that, when I was just reading the news and I was watching Twitter, I saw that many people were saying that podcasters helped Trump get elected.
Yeah.
Then Kushal and I had a long conversation about it because we had the whole debacle with Ranveer, who's your friend, right?
Yeah. It's my
Ranveer
guy.
and Samay. Yeah. And they were making similar comparisons where they said that podcasters have the ability to whitewash someone, right? Then Kushal and I arrived at the conclusion that we're not there yet because the people who vote in Indian elections largely the urban are very, how do I say it, apathetic. They don't vote in high numbers, especially in like the sort of places that listen to podcasts or watch podcasts.
Yeah.
The poor will not really watch a podcast and make up their mind.
Yeah.
But in America, I think the behavior has permeated all the way to the underclasses, where everyone watches podcasts.
Yeah, we all have access to internet. This is where we get most of our information. We don't trust the mainstream media anymore, the legacy media, I guess, so we go to this. And I'm not saying we got it all figured out. We don't. I think a lot of us endeavor to do a better job. We're not as beholden to sponsors. We have sponsors for sure, but they're never going to say, hey, you need to make sure we're going to pull our ad money if you don't push people toward this guy. But we did have, I'm sure we swayed some voters. To that, I would say, I wish Kamala had come on. We asked her. They denied it. They lied about it. It still bothers me. I have DMs from Kamala staffers that literally said, or staffer literally says, we can't come on after you had on Trump. I think he said too big of a risk, I think is what he said. And I was like, how the fuck is that a risk? You let the guy talk and then you go talk. That's a debate. We're just spacing out the time now. So I don't know. That really bothered me. But I do think maybe it's not as worth it to be in the political conversation, because once you start entering politics, everything you do becomes under a microscope. Whereas if you're not talking about politics, you can just kind of exist and do your thing.
Right.
If you're not interviewing presidents. By the way, very funny, an article came out yesterday about how Saudi money is coming into Hollywood. And then 12 hours later, Hollywood Reporter says, comedians performed at the Riyadh Comedy Festival, and it was a win for everyone. Because we're all gonna take the money. Everyone takes the money. I promise the business you work for has taken Saudi money. Nobody's hands are clean in this thing. And I'm not saying I'm great or I'm perfect or I'm whatever, but we did it to perform for the fans. And I think watching the blowback from like the guy who started this whole controversy does a TV show on Apple Plus. Apple actively employs sweatshops. It's like they still use child labor. The cobalt mines where they get their batteries are the worst slavery conditions in human history. Where are you about that? That's okay. You could take that money. I don't know. I just think it's a lot of the outrage from people who are outraged. I can kind of get it, but from like peers who are calling us out and actors who are calling us out, it's like, get the fuck out of here, dude.
You've had so many people on Flagrant. Beyond Trump, who's been the most surprising person where you were absolutely swayed by their aura? Because sometimes when I'm doing podcasts, I'm just sitting chill, right?
Yeah.
Writing some notes, and then all of a sudden, someone comes in with such a strong surge of energy.
Gary V probably comes to mind. Gary V is somebody I didn't trust. I would hear this and this, and then I started watching videos. I was like, oh, he's actually good. I like it. He's like saying, but you just got to watch the videos.
He's been consistent for years, by the way.
Yeah, and you just got to watch the videos. And then when I met him in person, I was like, this guy's pure positivity. He's great. He's great. What a guy. Yeah. That was somebody that, in doing the research for him and then doing the pod with him, I walked away 180-degree difference.
You've been, I'm sure you've been following the H-1B crisis that's happening.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know what it is. It's something that I've just begun to understand as I've spoken to several friends who had their H-1Bs cancelled and they're having difficulties, and now they've put on a cost, right? I suspect that it's a deliberate campaign to smear Indians, but
there's
I don't
been a lot
know.
of anti-Indian sentiment bubbling.
Why is that? What do you think that is?
You're doing well. We're doing well here. And I'm not saying that's the only reason or whatever. Also, Indians, when y'all come here, just put on some fucking deodorant, for God's sakes. But so I swear to God, I never wanted to feed into this thing. I went to Kunal Kamra's show in 2018 or 2019. He came to America. He came to New York. Did the show. I went to go see it. It was awesome. He's great. I love Kunal. I'll always have his back. But as I'm walking, entire rows, I went to use the bathroom, and you're walking, there's a theater, so you're walking from your seat out the doors. Entire rows smelled bad. It just hit me in the face. Do that. That will help a lot. Just that. That will help a lot. But also, we're doing really well. Indian Americans are the most successful ethnic group in all of America, white people included, per like household income.
Even more than Asian Americans now?
More than everyone.
We've taken
more
over?
than white people, more than everyone. We are, and now people are talking about it. I like Patrick Bet David to do these videos about what are they doing right, how do we be like them, and that's cool. But I knew what was coming on the back end, especially as this class divide widens. people who are down here are justifiably angry, and they're going to start looking at people to say, fuck them. They have, and I don't, and it's somebody's fault, and I don't think it's mine. Fuck them. So I think that is a part of it. I think also bots on Twitter. It's hard to remember. I think there's something that's like 62% of Twitter accounts are bots.
Sure, I just saw Nikita Beer tweet that they've deleted about 2 million bots just last week. They're trying to keep it under control, but it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
Because you also have countries like China who want to undermine India, and one way to do it is to basically create these online narratives and then have them pushed through others.
It works. It is effective. So I think that's part of it as well. I think both of those things, if I had to guess, I'm no expert, but those would be my guesses.
As someone who's born here, right, and someone who's brown, I'm sure your experience might be different, but whenever I speak to Indian hopefuls who are looking to come to America and go to college or get a job, for some strange reason, the number one thing they ask me, hey bro, वहाँ पे racism होता है? Racism तो नहीं होगा मेरे साथ. It's like this perpetual fear of being at the forefront of a racist attack. Swear to God, it hasn't happened to me once since I've been here, and I made lots of faux pas, lots of mistakes as I was figuring out how to speak the language, how to be, I don't know, understanding social cues and whatnot. If there were instances, I missed it. But I find that like racism as a concept overall is such a strong, polarizing word in America. It's like a main news issue. It's like a thing that, like we have casteism, you've got racism. But our casteism is like, it's not as prevalent unless it comes to times to vote. But what would you say about like the racism that Indians are subjected to? Is that a real thing against Indians?
I think it is becoming a real thing. I haven't experienced it as much recently, but it's becoming a real thing. I think I was talking to a mutual friend of ours. I won't say his name because I don't know if he wants it, but he was like, racism is going to become very mainstream in America. And it already is, dude. The number one podcast on Spotify, he sent me a screenshot, is Nick Fuentes, America First. Nick Fuentes is known. He built his thing off of like racism, essentially.
Sure. He went to BU, then he transferred to Auburn University. I saw him impersonating Trump in the first year of college.
Really?
Yeah, he was on stage debating I think the Democratic Students Society president, who was like a liberal, and he was impersonating Trump on stage as the Republican.
Was he a Republican? Did you know anything about him? This is interesting.
I just it was just one of those things that like a debate is happening in college, so you just go after you eat something in the dining hall, and I just saw Nick Fuentes there, and then many years later he becomes this figure.
Yeah. So I think that's going to rise, and the Indians are going to take a lot of heat. And I think H-1B visas, in people's minds, they take Americans' jobs, which is funny to me because it's like, I understand the H-1B visa system is not perfect. They do exploit the Indian employees. They don't pay them as much. But like, also to me, it sounds like white people want DEI all of a sudden in engineering. Now you guys, white Republicans, suddenly want DEI. You don't want the best and brightest. I want an equal opportunity. You got to box out the best and brightest so I have a shot. It doesn't sound like meritocracy to me.
That's very interesting. And you need meritocracy in fields where there's actual consequences. If you have a shit engineer, the rocket's going to tank.
And I remember reading Fareed Zakaria's book. I think he's awesome. I read one of his books, and he was saying that is the thing that keeps America churning, is like bringing in the best talent from all over the world. So why would we ever want to stop that? It is, as long as you're now I don't think you bring in everyone, but as long as you're bringing in the best and brightest, how do you lose?
That's true. What do you think about Modi?
It's easy for me. Again, it's like one of these things where it's like, I'm not even saying this is a cop-out, even though it is. Well, I guess kind of I'm saying it is a cop-out because it's so charged. But like, I don't know. I'm so detached from it. And that's where I think when I would speak, like they might have been bots, but like when Belgaum happened and I didn't really understand what was going on, people were on Twitter like, Akaash, you speak about XYZ. Why don't you speak about this in India? This is happening in India. This is happening in India. And I think the rage comes from, you don't know what the fuck is going on here. Stop talking like you know what the fuck is going on here. Do you know what I mean?
It was Indians who live in America?
India. No, Indians who live in India.
Okay.
They'll whatever. Anytime, it's very funny. Anytime there's some racist thing against Indians, these like BJP Indians will be like, why aren't you talking about this? And it's like, I don't talk about that much. The only thing I'll talk about is free speech and comedy, really. And in India, where it's people are getting thrown in jail and it's supposed to be a democracy and free speech. And I'm not like taking a bunch of moral stands, I don't think. But anyway, with Modi, it's like, I don't know. I don't live in India day to day. So do I think everything he's doing is good from here? No. But I go to India, I see infrastructure seems like it's improved. I went to Ahmedabad for the World Cup of Cricket, and I was like, this is insanely impressive. Given what India was the first time I went in 1999, 2022, 2022, whatever, I go back and I'm like, this is a different place.
How old are you?
41.
Damn. You don't look like it at all, man.
Oh, thanks, dude. I don't have much testosterone, I think, is probably the issue.
No, I was looking up your Wikipedia and it said 41. I was in disbelief. I thought you were in your 30s, late 20s tops.
It took me a long time to get successful, too. So I thought about lying about my age, and I was like, if one person finds out, that's the worst thing in the world. If somebody being like, he says he's 35 and he's 41, what a loser. So we just got to be honest about this.
Oh, did your parents force you to get married early?
No, they didn't. They were very like, and Indians in America don't get arranged marriages like that, as far as I know. So they just kind of waited. I found my wife, met her when I was 31. And then we dated for 4 years, and then I proposed. 3 or 4 years, whatever. I think 3.5, almost 4. Then I proposed, and we were going to get married. Then COVID happened. So we met in 2015. At the end of 2015, we got married 2021.
Where's the wedding?
It was in America. We wanted to get married in India, but then you guys started a whole new COVID. I don't know if you remember that. You guys started just a whole new strain of COVID.
I can't recall.
Yeah.
The hell?
Yeah, no, we were looking at the JW Marriott in Chandigarh, and then I was noticing.
She's a Sikhni, that's why.
Yeah, and I love Chandigarh because it's the only planned city. Sure. I've been to like 7 or 8 states now in India, I think. My favorite cities are Bangalore, Mumbai, Chandigarh.
You like Mumbai?
I like Mumbai.
Yeah, I live in Mumbai and Delhi both.
I like how hectic it is.
It is very
hectic. I don't think I could live there. I don't think I could live. If I had to live, it'd probably be Bangalore. Just because the weather, traffic, people keep complaining about, but like, who cares? And then, Ahmedabad was impressive too. But again, the weather for me is big. So Bangalore.
Yeah, Ahmedabad also no alcohol and just mostly vegetarian food, which is like a...
Yeah.
Anyway, the Gujaratis have taken over Indian Americans, right? Aren't like they're the most dominant community?
Yeah. Haven't they taken over India?
They have. It's like a nice little oligarch situation happening in our country. Ambani, Adani, Modi,
all the
Shah.
Guj.
All the Gujjus, man.
Yeah, Ambani, Shah, Modi. Yeah, they got it. They're running it, dude.
Yeah.
I got to stop teasing them so much. Your food is great, guys. I lied. It's I love putting sugar in everything. It's awesome. Dokla, that's great. It doesn't feel like I'm eating a sponge with salt and pepper. It feels like I might as well be eating chicken.
Damn, man. Like, what is up with the Patels, though? What is it with Patels and motels? And
I don't know. I don't understand that one. You have to talk to Gujarati about that one. I don't get it. It's, I guess, a good business.
Yeah.
I guess. My dad has said that, too. He's like, you could just live there. It's a business. And I don't get it. But they make money.
So you said that your dad could have been like a big deal in India, where he was in politics and he was like a prominent Hindi speaker and sort of like, like the guy who would
very
change
charismatic
things.
Over there. I remember my cousin, this is the first time it occurred to me. My cousin said to me, your dad is so funny. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's not funny at all. And he goes, no. Your dad is not funny in English, but he has such a command of Hindi. He's so funny. He's so charismatic. And then that stuck with me. Like, if you're not really good at a language, you can't navigate the world that well. And Trevor Noah said a thing like, I speak 6 languages or whatever. And he said, my personality is different in every language. Which it makes so much sense when you think. It's so hard to wrap your mind around that, but it's so true. I know the ins and outs of English very well. I can make a word funny that's not supposed to be funny just because I can make the context around it funny. You can't, if you don't know the language really well, you can't do that.
Right. You're almost stuck in a 2D way of articulating yourself.
Perfectly said. Yes.
Right. And I mean, I don't share the same struggle that your dad did. I grew up reading English, speaking English in debates and in school, which is very formal, right? And it's not conversational. When I first came to America, I would not be able to be as fast or quick or miss certain cues. And to think in my head, I was so smart. Yeah. But I would be perceived as dumb. Yeah. And that took such a long time, the timing, even the way of speaking, all of that. It took such a long time to even barely I would say command. I don't even master it so much. I will still miss some cues.
Mhm.
But I can't imagine what it must feel like for a first generation immigrant dad to come here and then suddenly have all that world of expression, all that richness be
Take it
now
from him.
in one single language that's
Yeah.
not theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did he cope with it?
Some people can adjust, some people can't. You'll see, like, and most Indian Americans find their way, relatively speaking, but like, it's hard for some people. You see it. I think it affects your psyche. I went broke in 2018, and I remember how much that affected my psyche. It fucks with you as a man. Like when you can't make money, when you can't kind of navigate, be this, be that. It just, I think it affects. So I think a lot of they'll never talk about it because the idea of going to therapy for them is only for insane people.
Mhm.
But like, yeah, they could all use therapy. That's a tough thing to deal with. That's a traumatic thing to deal with.
So does he talk about the fact that he
No, I
wants
don't even know if he realizes it. Like I see it because and then with 2018, I remember I was just like an angrier person. I was more volatile. I would like cry for no reason or whatever. Like all these things. I was like really going through a tough time because I think you go on this path as a comedian and you're broke for a long time. And then I started making money 2014, then 2015, I made a little more. Then 2016, I made a little more. Then 2017, I made 6 figures for the first time in my life. And then I thought, oh, this is it. It's only up from here because it's only been up.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, the next year, 2018, I made $140,000 in 2017, which was like, oh my God, for me,
Right.
I can live forever like this. And then 2018, I literally don't think I made $4,000. I was so broke. It was unbelievable.
What happened?
I was on 5 or 6 TV shows on MTV. I was on a Netflix show that Netflix bought. And if Netflix liked it, they would have picked it up and it would have been a Netflix original. It would have been really good. It was an Indian show, actually, called Brown Nation.
Yeah, I've seen Brown Nation with Shehnaz Treasurywala.
Yeah. So I was on that. I was like a side character or whatever. So but then all of a sudden, all of those shows got canceled except for one. And that show was like, you know what? It's too expensive to fly him from New York to LA where we film. It's an MTV show. It's like the low budget thing. Put him in a hotel. So we're just going to use someone local. And I was like, well, fuck. So all those shows they're gone. So, one show gets canceled and I'm like, I got 5 more. Then I got 4 more. Then before you even realize it, when you have two things left that you're waiting on, you're like, well, now it's late. Luckily, I had started Flagrant in that year and it was building, but we weren't making money on it yet. And then I got so broke in 2018, I said to Andrew, we had to move out of our apartment in New York. We didn't have an apartment for like 2-3 weeks.
You guys stayed together?
My wife and me.
Okay.
My girlfriend at the time, but she stayed with me. She didn't make it easy, but she stayed with me. We were sleeping on her friend's couch for 2 weeks.
That is insane.
And then we got a place in New Jersey because we had a free month of rent and we needed the free month. And then I said to Andrew in that time, I said, I'm literally pleading with you. Can we please start a Patreon? And then we started it and then things went from there. But it was a brutal time. But I remember that year, how much that affected my psyche, how hard that was. Going from a lot of Indian men who had been so successful over there and navigated it really well. And then coming here and maybe they did fine. They found their way. But and that's just the rest of your life. And in my dad's case, he didn't even choose that. He was an arranged marriage. And they said, I'm sure that's most cases, but you're moving to America. That's it. So what do you do? That's my life now. It's a fucking tough thing.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Does he try to imbibe some things he learned back there?
I don't know. Again, these are things that
does he?
No, we didn't. He didn't. And like, he and I had a little rocky relationship. I don't hate him or resent him because I understand. I empathize now, and it took a lot of like therapy and things like that. But it's like I get now some of the things he did that weren't good. I get that they weren't done by a bad person. They were bad things done by a broken person.
Damn, man. Is he well adjusted now? Has he made his peace?
Nah.
Is he happy about your success?
Oh yeah. That for sure. Very, very happy about my success. Does he think about and again, these are things that like I don't think most people think about. Most people just kind of navigate and we just go through the world. As a comedian, my brain doesn't turn off, and that's not a good thing. That's a bad thing. In Hindu belief, that's like the worst thing. So I'm not saying it like I'm so smart. It just doesn't shut the fuck up. So it's just constantly thinking about these things. The one benefit is it will kind of analyze these things, and it might be wrong, but I'll have like, oh, maybe that happened for this reason or this reason or this reason, or maybe I'm doing this for this reason. So I don't think he thinks about that, but I think about it a lot.
What is something that has stayed with you that he's taught you, perhaps?
I remember that he only gave me one conversation about sex, but he said he was really uncomfortable. He was like giggling and laughing. He said,
He was laughing himself.
yeah, he was like, this is so uncomfortable. Like, this is just so, like, I can't believe I'm doing this. But before I went to college, he said, in the Gita, I don't even know if this is true. I read the Gita. I don't remember this part. But they say sex is the closest a person can get to heaven. But it's only that if you do it with the right person.
Okay.
And I was like,
You took that to heart.
I took that to heart. I was like, he didn't say, it wasn't some fear mongering thing. It wasn't don't do it. It was and it was really like, even at 18, I was like, what a cool way to word that. That was a really mature, like, I'm not saying don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying it's only worth it if you do it with the right person.
How'd you fix your sort of belief around money? I think now you're a rich man. I mean, touch wood. I hope it stays the same way. But at some point when you were a struggling broke comedian, you don't have high hopes from the world, right? You just have some optimism about your craft and you're hoping that you make ends meet. And then you have a girlfriend and then you have an immigrant family who are doing their own thing. So you've got no support. At that point, you can't think I'm going to make my next million soon. I mean, in a few years. That doesn't strike you. How do you fix that?
Well, I'm sorry. I'm not even saying it's like a dickhead. I'm not understanding exactly what you mean.
I'm saying that when you were a broke comedian,
right?
You must have super broke beliefs about money.
Like, can you give me an example?
Like, I'm never going to make more than X amount.
I don't know if I thought about money like that. I thought about success. And maybe not fame, like I want people taking pictures of me. That wasn't, but like fame, like I want to sell out this many seats in an arena. And it wasn't about the money, although that matters. I love having money and all that. But it was, the main thing I was thinking was success was about the audiences, the size of the audience I would perform for. And the money would be great. That would be but it was a secondary thing. So when we started making money, what I tried to be mindful of is let's not be irresponsible with it like I felt like I was in 2017. And then once I got married, not even engaged, married, I felt a very different pressure. Now this person, I'm responsible for this person. We are tied together. So if I'm really irresponsible with our money, I'm hurting her in a way that she didn't sign up for. So be thoughtful with how you navigate. And we spend. We're not like afraid to spend. I don't want to have like a scarcity mindset either. But also make sure that we have like a guy that we're trying to invest with. And like I invested actually in a chai shop in Brooklyn, and then they opened. You should go.
There's a chai shop in Brooklyn.
There's chai shops. There's chai shops.
Are the hipsters so down with
yeah, there's just chai shops everywhere. But my good friend, who's a brother of mine, actor, really good actor. But him and his wife, who's from India, they have the best tea Assam. They apparently have the best tea.
Yeah, Darjeeling tea.
Yeah, but he married a girl from there. They moved here, and then they opened it with another Indian guy who's in the restaurant business. They opened a chai shop called Fontaines. I invested in that. I love him. I was an Indian thing. I wanted to invest in that. Then they opened another location in the West Village, and it's doing really well. It's called Fonties. You should go there. The chai is actually good, even by Indian standards. The Indians tell me it's good.
Yeah, the Indians are like very anal about how they like their tea and whatnot. They get very pissed off if it's a chai latte. It's like, come on, man.
No chai latte. It is. They have masala chai. And then I think masala and rose in the West Village, and the other one has all the cutting chai, ginger chai, all of it.
You know, I did not realize, first of all, that New York is extremely expensive.
It's the only thing. It's the first thing people realize.
No, it's just taken me a week to just have it all
the dumbest thing
up.
you said in this hour and a half. That's crazy.
Bro, I came here in 2019.
It was still expensive.
Stay with friends. It was a different world. I've just come here like a retail tourist, and I've just been robbed blind.
It's gotten worse, but it's always been expensive. It's always been. And being poor in New York is harder than being poor anywhere in America. Being poor in New York feels like you're not in America.
I'm going to be taking a Greyhound bus to Boston soon, which I think will be slightly more affordable. And then we're going to go down further south and south and south. I was looking at the prices in Orlando, the fucking, place where they have the Disneyland.
Yeah. So much better.
$500 for a Marriott hotel for 7 days.
Yeah.
I'm paying $150 in a nice room in like an okay private bedroom in Long Island City with the shared bathroom.
Yeah.
And I'm paying that daily. I just didn't expect. It's so expensive.
So expensive. That's so funny. You didn't realize it.
And
even the Chipotle in New York, where I remember when I moved, it's 2008. I moved from LA, which is also an expensive city. Chipotle was more expensive here. That blew my mind. I didn't realize you could do that at like a national franchise. It's still more expensive here.
Yeah. And then as an Indian, I'm like, Well, in America, they get pissed off if I don't tip. So I've just been tipping left and right. And that's all. And that's also drained my money.
That's actually good. That's good that you do that.
Because if I just go and buy the coffee, right, or the matcha,
Yeah.
then they have this very smug little thing that they do
Yeah.
where now
$1 but you don't have to. If you could do $1, great. That's all you have.
Right. So now I was looking at some of these very extremely, like I was in Chelsea a few days ago and I was looking at how these white women with yoga mats were doing it. I was like, I'm just gonna follow that, but 50% less.
50% less is funny. Okay.
So I've just been doing like 50 cents or $1 on a coffee.
Do $1. 50 cents almost feels worse. Fucking 50 cents? What am I, a homeless person?
It's just so challenging to navigate through tipping in India, man. Or in America, I don't know how to do it. It's so subjective. In India, they have a service charge that's a part of the bill.
Yeah.
So you don't have to deal with all of this.
No, it's nice.
Yeah.
And you get to treat them like shit. So that's good.
I just think that they're way better at hospitality, man. I just think here people have such a hard time.
Oh,
being
India's the
hospitable.
best hospitality. All jokes aside, it's
Yeah.
unbelievable hospitality. I remember going to some random restaurant and like they just kept bringing food to our table, and I was like, do they think we're famous? What the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. Like they'll bring the whole thing. Hey, do you want this? Do you want that? And I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the only place where I saw that mimicked yesterday was at a Dubai-based cake shop that I was at to use some Wi-Fi stuff, and I think the cakes they didn't sell, they just gave it to us. Hey, this is free, enjoy, in their thick
Really?
accent. And the cake was disgusting, but I was like, that's great. I mean, Middle Easterns, Indians doing that thing.
Yeah.
But here it's like, I constantly feel in New York that I'm so alone and that
Yeah.
everything costs money.
It's a fascinating thing. It's this tough city, man. And I hated it for a long time. I still don't love it. I still want us to leave and go somewhere warmer. But Andrew he's born and raised New Yorkers. Do you know what Scientology is? That's what New York is. You're like this little cult when you're born and raised in New York, and you're like, I can't leave. No matter what, I can't leave. It's just, you're idiots. Leave. But it's a tough city. You feel very alone with 11 million people. Now I like it a little more because I have access to things that I like. There's nice restaurants, and if I hit them up a couple days in advance, they're really hard to get into. But if I give them a couple days and it's me and my wife, they'll be like, yeah, we'll work it out. I never had that before. Now you're tasting all the food people brag about, and you're like, oh, this is fucking great. But it's still a hard city, and if I didn't have my wife, I would feel so fucking alone. There's 12 million of us, but you feel so alone. I can't explain it. Everybody's just laser focused on what they need to do. Point A to point B. What do I need to do when I get to point B? Go home, go to the gym, whatever. There's no talking to people. There's no anything. You go to Texas, you walk by someone where I grew up. Hey, how are you? I'm good. How you doing, man? It's just a little connection all the time, but you don't see that many people. If I said, hey, how are you to everyone in New York, I would lose my voice in an hour. There's too many people. So you end up feeling very lonely.
Yeah, it's just if I didn't have the music and I didn't have the few friends that I know here, I would just have to talk to strangers.
Yeah.
And sometimes if I'm working hard the entire day, just speaking to the baristas cheers me up. And then I realized, like, I've been seeing so many cracked homeless people here.
Yeah.
We have the homeless in India, but even if they're deranged, they're sort of well integrated.
Yeah.
Like, that one crazy fool who's lost his mind, but he's still fed by the village or the slum, wherever he stays.
Yeah.
I feel like the homeless here are just like the worst victims of this aloneness.
Yeah, we ain't feeding them nothing. Get the fuck out. New York is it's like you just get jaded. You see too much. Like the way I see kids in India. I remember seeing a kid. I thought he died. He was in Mumbai. He just passed out, flies around him. I was like, is this a fucking corpse I'm looking at? I just walk by it. It ain't nothing. To us, that's insane. Like, this is a child.
No, it's just with some of the homeless, they're deranged in this way where they start waving their hands around and saying stuff in the air. The per capita density of those people in New York is so high.
Yeah, the mentally ill.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know what it is. I don't know enough about American homelessness, but I think I see it in droves here where there's just these lunatics operating and talking to the air.
Yeah.
What's
I
up
think
with
they're
that?
schizophrenic or something. I think it's like a specific mental diagnosis that is like they believe they're having conversations with people. I think it's schizophrenia.
Yeah.
Those are real people to them. They're talking to another person.
Have you ever spoken with people like
No.
that?
No.
You steer clear?
Yes, you're clear, dude. because you don't know what you're getting into.
And then you've legalized cannabis here,
Yeah,
and
that's
I don't
awesome.
know. You think it's awesome?
Yeah, I don't drink. I don't drink at all. Had a couple of alcoholics in my family. I think it's poison.
Mm-hmm.
And I think weed, I'm glad I didn't do it until I was 38. I did it with Joe Rogan for the first time, which is a cool story. What a cool story. But I think doing it before you're like 25 is not good because it's not good for your brain chemistry. It's not good for, especially as you're developing. So if I had kids, I would tell them, don't do it until you're like at least 25 and your brain is formed, and then do it responsibly, and it's cool.
Yeah, when I got here, I mean, I smoked weed before this in India, but when I got here, the weed was just so exceptionally strong
I've heard that.
that I was just walking around in a daze for all 4 years of college was one hazy, like it was just, I was living with dealers and just, it was illicit. So it had some intrinsic value, like the whole transaction.
Yeah, feels
giving
cool.
the $40 for the now it's like fucking retail cannabis. You've got cannabis baristas. You've got to me, it feels like it's a way to sedate society. Like you wanted this, but it's at what cost?
Oh, to me, it's just a way to make money. Like, why would you not make money? I'm kind of, I don't know, libertarian or whatever in that sense, where it's like, legalize all of it. I don't give a fuck. I don't like the idea that we would punish drug dealers so hard. Chris Rock, I think, had a line. He's like, drugs, you don't sell drugs. Drugs sell themselves. I've never had a guy sell me drugs. So it's like, I think most of that stuff is commerce, and if let's weed out the fucking idiots or whatever, and that's harsh on my end, but like, I don't care if it's legal or illegal. I don't think it's done with the purpose of sedating society. I think it's done because New York mismanaged its money and they needed a cash infusion, and weed is a very quick way to do that. I think it was more practical
to get the
because I don't think that many more people are smoking weed now that it's legal.
You smell it on the streets all the time, man. Maybe you take Ubers so you don't see it.
Yeah, I guess maybe they do it on the streets as opposed to their apartment too.
Yeah, which is like, why do you want the streets to be full of weed? It's like, it's too much. Just for me.
Yeah,
I enjoyed the illicit.
There's so many other things in New York. I see people doing heroin. That bothers me. I see people shooting heroin into their veins outside of Penn Station, where I know my nieces are going to come when they visit from Jersey. That's tough. The weed thing to me is like, it's kind of it's not, I don't think it's amazing, but I think it's relatively innocuous.
Got it. You've interviewed quite a lot of fun, interesting people. What was Andrew Huberman like?
Huberman was cool. It was all research based. So it's like, he's just giving you the research on stuff. And it was a good interview. It wasn't like one that like leapt out at me. I was like, oh shit. You know what I thought was cooler was that guy Brian Johnson.
Yeah.
Who wants to live forever.
He was one of the first guys, when he was doing his first appearances, he was one of the first guys to come to your podcast.
Yeah, and I remember that was another one where you sit and talk to people and you feel differently. That was another one where I was like, especially the way the media, like the articles, we're all in an attention economy. That's one thing no one, I think, realizes. Everything we're doing, myself included, is for attention. So when these articles are being written about him, it's what will get the most clicks. And what will get the most clicks is positioning him as this guy who wants to have the hardest boner in the world, and he's a billionaire who wants to live till he's 100 to fuck young girls.
But I think he's playing into it now. He's totally playing into it. In his tweets, he's like, yeah, if you want, I'm the guy who's going to help you get a big boner. He's deliberately doing that now.
I think before it was, I think now he's leaning into it, but before it was, that's the guy we got positioned anyway. And but then I listened to his Diary of a CEO, and then Diary of a CEO, the clips, and I get it. The clips early on are about having the hardest boners and whatever. But then when we talked to him, it felt like, I want my dad to live. My dad is sick. I want my dad to live a long life. I love my dad. And I think we as a species are in a place where we can live forever very soon. And I want to help push us there. And that is a whole different person than, I'm a billionaire who wants to fuck young girls. That interview, I actually think, if there's not a ton of episodes, I would encourage people, you need to listen to that one. If you're interested in that guy at all, good or bad, listen to that episode and see how you feel walking away, because I think you'll feel differently.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of, it's very strange how culture sometimes trickles down from the billionaires and millionaires, the Silicon Valley guys here, to the guys in Bangalore. Because I meet some founder friends of mine, and they're all talking about longevity all of a sudden. They're all getting fit.
Yeah.
And these same guys used to be bald and fat when the .com boom happened, because that was a thing. Yeah. So it's very, very funny that health has sort of trickled down the way it has to India. Man, I want to ask you, you came up at a time when I think cancel culture or gender pronouns, all of these things, I club them all together, were at their peak, right? And you guys were fighting against it. 9 years later, I don't think there is any cancel culture.
No, it's done. And it was, at the time, it was and I think Indian comedians were already putting their clips on YouTube. So I don't want to act like Andrew invented putting things online, but we as young comics thought the only way you can get on is you save all your jokes, you get a special, then you get a special on Netflix or Comedy Central, and then you can get in this movie, and then you can do this. All leads to doing stand-up in bigger venues. Then we eventually realized if you put it out online, people will come see your show. So you don't have to use those guys. Great, if you get a movie, God bless. But like, you don't have to use them. They're not gatekeepers anymore. So once that happened, to us, cancel culture was over. Now we say what we want. You'll come to a show when we put our content online. You'll see us. We don't have to wait on Comedy Central. But Comedy Central they did not like us. I remember meeting them. They had no interest in anything I pitched because it wasn't safe, and everything they wanted to do was safe. Now that's not a thing. Like, people, I don't hear people complaining about cancel culture, but I think we stopped right around COVID. Probably it was like we clearly have bigger things to worry about. Like maybe in the middle of COVID. By the time we got to Miami in 2021, I don't think we talked about cancel culture for the last 4 or 5 years because it's not a thing anymore. Well, Nick Fuentes is the #1 podcast on Spotify. How is cancel culture a thing? It's not. And I don't even think people are complaining about cancel culture anymore. I hear people complaining about people complaining about cancel culture.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, but who? Find those guys who are doing it. And I think we stopped doing it before a lot of others, I think. You're just using a fake thing. That doesn't exist anymore. These guys who were like, well, I can't say retard. We say retard all the time. I never stopped saying it. Never. I didn't elect a president because he let me say retard. Biden is a retard. I'll let him in office. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't even actually believe that about Biden. But I said it all the time.
What's with the thing where they say Michelle Obama has a dick?
I don't think it's just fucking hateful people just finding a thing.
Right. And then I was seeing that apparently there's like a narrative thing where Bridget Macron also has a dick. Yeah. And it's just a bunch of women who are presidents' wives all have dicks, right?
I think if you think of like this is all an attention economy. What's going to get us clicks? What's going to get us views? What's going to get us this? What's going to get us that? Michelle Obama has this. Bridget Macron has this. People, and Candace Owens can paint she's a dangerous dude. I'm afraid I don't want any smoke with her ever because she can paint any picture and do it beautifully and make you look exactly how she wants you to look. But we're all, again, myself included, it's an attention economy. Even the guy on TikTok or Instagram or whatever with 500 followers, if they're posting regularly, they're trying to get attention. It's not more pure. We're all in this thing. So all these crazy rumors pop up because that'll get traction.
Do you still believe that if social media went away, you would do comedy?
Yeah, I would do comedy?
Yeah.
Yeah, not even a question. I did comedy before social media. I started 2008.
When I meet my friends in Mumbai, you're all comedians, all go to Habitat, there is such an addiction to a laugh that sometimes when I'm sitting in a room with comedians, it is impossible to get a word across the room because they're all competing to be funny.
Yeah.
As much as possible.
I hate that shit. I hate that. And I think it's... I would find myself doing it when I was younger, is usually not having enough stage time and not having enough whatever. But like if I can't have a real conversation, and now we get competitive in moments. If we're all being funny, I understand. There's a thing. It's like somebody.
It's like male banter also. In a
and
group,
also
right?
Somebody dropped a basketball in the middle of the floor in the NBA. Like we're all gonna do what we want to do.
Right.
But and this might not be what you're talking about. Hanging out with younger comics sometimes, everything is trying to be funny. We can't have a conversation. That drives me crazy. But yeah, there is a thing that's like overwhelming sometimes where a bunch of comics are trying to go at it. And I'm sure I'll do that too, but it's too much.
So I'm heading to Skank Fest on November 14th with a friend of mine who said, that's how I came here actually. I had no plans of being here in America. He said, hey man, let's go to Skank Fest. I was like, what the fuck is this? He's like, it's like a dank comedy festival where some wild shit happens. And I got drunk one night. I was like, fuck it, let's just book a flight. then I got a visa. Then I got here, I was like, let's make the most of it. Let's start doing podcasts.
Yeah.
Is it like, it's like a hype thing?
I've never been, but I've heard every comic I know who was performed there was like, it's actually great. People who thought, oh, these guys are all racist. These guys are all women who thought they're all sexist. They're going to hate me. Every one of them has been like, no, they're great. They're just like comedy nerds who love comedy. That's it. The audience. So I think you'll have fun.
Awesome. I'm looking forward. I mean, I've heard that New Orleans also has a nice music
Oh,
scene.
New Orleans you're going to New Orleans?
Yeah,
It's
that's
the
where it
most
is.
unique city in America. There's no city like New Orleans in America.
Say more.
Boston is kind of like Philly. It's kind of like New York. It's kind of like Chicago. Dallas, where I grew up, it's they're not gonna like me saying this, but it's kind of like a soulless place. There's no like just a bunch of fucking franchises and chains. L.A. kind of similar. It's beautiful to look at, but that's it. New Orleans is like there's a Cajun culture that only exists in that part of Louisiana. It was like French mixed with Southern, mixed with Black, mixed with and it just became this very unique thing. Like the music, the jazz is everywhere. The funerals are like parties. A New Orleans funeral is a party. There's jazz people. There's jazz bands playing. It's like
At the funeral.
at the funeral.
It's not
a
sad
procession
organs.
down the street. It's a thing. There's no city like New Orleans. It's awesome. It is a cool vibe, and you will leave and say, "Wow, that is a city." I haven't been to like Dubai. I went to Dubai and they got offended, but I was like, "This is a cheesecake factory." It's Miami. It's Vegas. I've been.
Sure.
I haven't. Even if you haven't been to Dubai, if you've been to a handful of, you've been to Singapore, if you've been to Miami, if you've been to Las Vegas, you've been to Dubai.
Well, Dubai has no heritage. It has no historical
And
value.
I think it was planned that way, where by the UAE, where Abu Dhabi would be the cultural hub, and this would be about business. But like New Orleans is the opposite. New Orleans is I've never been to a city like this. I'm actually text me and just tell me your
Okay.
thoughts on New Orleans.
Yeah, in Japan they have these girls bars. I was in Japan for a month and accidentally ended up in a girls bar, and they wouldn't let us in because we were gaijin. But then the guy sitting there, he liked us. He was like, "Fuck it, you can drink on my tab." I was like, "Great." At these girls bars, you don't even have sex. You just pay for the company women.
Get the fuck out of here, guys. I mean, just go. It really bothers me that we as a society are there.
They literally will pay these women to listen to them, and they will
Oh my
nonstop buy them drinks. And so there were these one South Korean guy and one other guy, and I just made a little video like laughing about it. I said, "This woman is your girlfriend, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, she's my girlfriend." And the girl is like, "No, fuck this guy," to his face, and she's getting paid for it. And I put it up on Twitter, and it got 800K views, and everyone was saying, "Fuck you, Pajit, you don't know shit."
What does Pajit come from again?
I don't know. I think it's like a
Like the origin of it.
Jeet is probably
is
like
Punjabi.
from Punjabi,
Yeah.
and then Pajit has probably become, I don't know, like a racist connotation
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
Not sure, man. Not sure.
Well, we finally have one. We never had a racist term before. We finally got one.
What's your generational triumph tour about?
A lot about what I talked about on this, so I might be a little more selective with what I talk about and what I don't after the pod,
Mhm.
but it is kind of about like, I think it's Bring Back a Poo was something I felt, like I think this is the more mature version of what I felt, which is like we're so blessed to be in this country, and then you hear a lot about generational trauma, and I think our job, which is a thing, but I think our job is to understand how much our parents or grandparents, or whoever brought you to this country, had to sacrifice to bring you here.
Mhm.
And instead of talking about your own generational trauma, empathize with their trauma. And now your job is to try to break that cycle. To try to be like, okay, let me work through whatever got passed down onto me that's traumatic, and whatever trauma I went through, let me work through that so my kids and their kids and their kids don't have to go through that. And that's how I can pay back the sacrifices that whoever brought us to this country made. And I do it in a funny way, I hope. I hope the whole thing is funny. It's not, I don't want to do like a one-man show.
Mhm.
So I hope it's a comedy hour, but that is kind of, at the end, I might get a little heavy-handed, but the through line is kind of that. Is like, my wife and I are talking about having kids. How do I want to raise my kids? Indian, not Indian. I mean, not like how Indian can I make them? Like, do I speak in Hindi? All that stuff. How are we going to raise?
Sure.
She's sick. I'm Hindu. How do we navigate that? How do I navigate that? So it's kind of a lot of that stuff, and it's the idea. I hope the overarching theme is like, as I hopefully have kids and raise them, how do I do that?
Wow, man, that's gonna be quite something.
Thank you, man. I hope so. I think it's my best hour. I don't think it's close.
Are you still workshopping it in New York?
No, I workshop it on the road mainly, but like it came to me pretty quickly, which was nice. I thought I would take like 5, 6, 7 months off, and then pretty quickly these things just started,
Sure.
like stories or whatever. And so I've just been touring it and now I'm trying to polish it, and then we're on the road now, and I'm gonna keep polishing, and then I'll film the special probably the end of 2026.
That's awesome. What are the dates? Like, I mean, people can check it out on the
Yeah, it's on the
links.
website. Chicago Theater. I just announced on April 24th. I'm really excited about that one. You been to Chicago?
No.
When you go to Chicago downtown, there's this theater. It just pops out in the middle of downtown, Chicago
Right.
Theater. It's like an iconic thing. So there, 3,500 seats. I'm really excited about that. Dallas, I'm doing the Majestic Theater, which is cool because the first time I saw stand-up ever, I think, was seeing Dave Chappelle there.
That's
Before he
awesome.
got super famous. It was like right before. I was a big fan of his already. So that is going to be a fun show to do. There's like a, we're thinking about New York where we want to do, maybe Radio City, maybe. So we're trying to iron that out. I'm going to Australia. We're going to probably do a thing in India. I just feel like, I don't know. I want them to be more accepting of comics before I go over there.
They are, man. It was just a one-time thing, I think.
It was a 2-time thing.
It was just
Munawar, whoever was with Munawar,
sure.
and then Ranveer and Samay, and then Kunal. It's not a one-time thing. I'm naming it 3 times.
No, yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's a very great time to be a comic in India. I will also say that the reason they make these lame MBA jokes and engineering jokes, because those are the jokes that are permitted. I am saying this though. After that, I think politics has left comedy aside for a while.
For a while. They
For a
can pick
while.
it back up whenever they want.
Sure. I mean, what I would personally love is to have blasphemous comedy. I think we are missing that. We don't have blasphemous
Because you
stuff.
can't.
Yeah.
You have anti-blasphemy laws.
Yeah.
So in the Constitution, it's written in a way that's like you can't even really go at it.
But I think some of the best jokes that you can crack in America are about your political leadership and Jesus.
Yeah.
And Allah and like all the other guys, right?
Yeah.
All the religions. We don't do that there, and I think we're missing out on a huge chunk of funniness
Of course.
because
There's so many funny comics in India, but you're not allowed to talk about anything. And the stuff I see, it's just like, it just doesn't have teeth. And I'm not even saying that to insult the comics. What can they do? It's just like, we're going to listen to this fucking forever. This is what we're going to do forever for comedy, for India. This is the art form. Yeah.
have you met Veer Das?
Yeah, I love Veer. Veer's a
Yeah.
good guy.
I think he's probably the only trailblazer and he's had to, tone it down as well. I think he's a very power packed guy.
Yeah.
But even he has to talk about like, being from India and like the conversations between Indians and Americans, all of that, Indian Americans.
Mhm.
I think he can probably do way more edgier stuff, but
Yeah.
he's just been trapped in so many cases.
Yeah.
He's had probably the most amount of legal cases
Yeah.
on him as opposed to any other comedian.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a lawsuit on you?
Never. It's not
No.
a thing. It's not a thing. It's just the idea of getting sued for a joke it doesn't even exist to us.
What's the most dire consequence of being a comedian here and doing the sort of jokes that you do?
People get offended.
That's it.
You get Twitter outrage. It sucks. It's not. It sucks, but it's not life like my life isn't over. It just sucks for a few weeks and then they move on.
Yeah.
And it feels very like, oh my God, the whole world hates me. But it goes away.
Yeah.
And each one, sadly, you get a little more used to it. A little bit more. It'll still bother you, but not as much. I mean, come on, dude. The idea that comedy needs to be censored, but you can go watch Animal. I loved Animal, but
Sure.
it was the craziest movie I've ever seen in my life.
Sure. I saw you talk on Brucker's podcast
Yeah,
about it.
even by Hollywood standards, we'd
Yeah.
be like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
Yeah.
But you guys loved that. That's a box office smash.
You know why? There's
Why?
all this repressed anger in Indian males, and they're able to project that on it.
Okay, fine, but then I'm not even interested in the psychology. I'm interested in that. I'm interested in the psychology of that's okay. Ranveer's joke is not.
Sure.
You can actually try to walk me through that. I would love to hear a remotely logical explanation.
About Ranveer? No.
Ranveer's joke is not okay. Animal's okay. Walk
I-
me through that logic.
I think he was targeted. I've said it before. He was unfairly targeted for just being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and someone wanted to make an example of him, and they did. Samay's show was basically the most famous thing on the internet.
Yeah.
For a few weeks.
Yeah.
It even surpassed anything Mr. Beast remotely did and all other podcasts because it was netting about 35, 40 million views per episode.
Hmm.
It was being very consistent. I think someone wanted to bring him down and sort of, put the gas out of this uncensored stuff, and they did it successfully.
Hmm.
I think you can do that. I don't know. I just saw that Alex Jones has just been given like a 1.4 billion fine for
Yeah.
Sandy Hook
Oh yeah.
survivors.
That was a little different. That was like, and I had Alex Jones on the podcast, and he was hilarious. And I don't necessarily regret having him on. I don't think, but like, he was like he was charging up a lot of shit toward these people who lost their kids and like saying it wasn't real, which you can say, but I think he was like galvanizing people to. I think maybe I'm wrong. I think he was galvanizing people to like go harass
What is he
them.
like? Is he like is he?
He's another one that's funny as fuck, man. If he was a stand-up, if he didn't call his thing Infowars, and if he just called it like Yuck Yucks or something, he'd be so funny.
Yes.
He'd be so funny. I was listening to him the first time we talked. The first episode is lost. It got taken down and we didn't have it backed up. But
YouTube took it down?
Yeah, took it down because he's talked about the COVID vaccine not being like killing people or whatever the fuck he was saying. But I was like, oh, if I look at these stand-up premises, you're really funny.
Yeah.
You're really funny.
Who's like the most unfunny politician you know?
Politician?
Yeah.
Unfunny, I don't know. Like Pete Buttigieg wasn't funny, but I liked him. I thought he was good,
Uh-huh.
but he wasn't like a funny guy necessarily. Bernie wasn't there to be funny. Bernie was awesome. I love Bernie, but he wasn't there to be funny. So yeah, like some of these guys are just focused on the thing.
Yeah. Did Trump ever call you back after the podcast saying thanks?
No, I didn't get his number. No. We don't get his number. You talk to whoever his guy is.
Sure.
Yeah.
Did Baron Trump put him on to the podcast?
That's what I've heard. I don't know, but I think his son is also a fan of Schultz. Don Jr.
Yeah, they're all New Yorkers.
Yeah.
Man, I can't believe you interviewed Trump. That is so like you interviewed the president of this country.
Yeah, we got a lot of pushback for it, but that was my thing. Is like if I can have the guy who could be president and the lady who could be president, that'd be so awesome. To me, it wasn't. I wish we got both of them, man. If we got both of them, it would have been great. And we took a lot of flack for them not wanting to come on, which kind of sucks. But yeah.
Were you awestruck by him?
A little bit, I think. And I noticed the way he talks is very like mesmerizing or like hypnotic when he's like, it's really, really like you're looking at him and the way he moves his mouth, there's like something hypnotic about it. It's really like just the way you move. You're like, whoa, I don't know what's happening, but this is like a fascinating thing to watch. It's like you get caught in this rhythm.
Yeah, and you also went on Rogan, right?
Yeah, twice, yeah.
Man, Rogan is I don't know if he's celebrated here in India. Like, people worship him.
Yeah,
they make comparisons with Indian podcasters and Rogan, but I don't think we're there yet in terms of we're all like super young kids. We're all kids, right, in some way.
Yeah.
What was he like?
Awesome. Nice guy. Super friendly, warm, great. Like, the first time I met him, he just gave me a hug. I wasn't doing his podcast. He was visiting Andrew. We'd never talked. He said, hey, man, he just gave me a hug. And then we were talking. He was locked in, laser focused on what I was saying and whatever. This is one of the most famous guys on earth. And this is 2021. I had nothing. And then another kid who had even less than me comes. The only time Rogan broke the conversation, black kid for whatever it's worth. But then he stops talking to me and he just goes, Derek, and then gives him a big hug. And then he talks to him for a bit and then comes back and talks to me. And I was like, when they say you can tell who a person is by how he treats someone who can't help him at all. Mm-hmm. On that metric, Joe Rogan is awesome. Like, awesome. The nicest guy in the world.
I think one of the sad things that I see in podcasting in India is that the free speech boat never really arrived. It sort of was supposed to be an alternative to mainstream media. Mm-hmm. And they got co-opted way faster than mainstream media.
Yeah.
And they took sides way more.
This is what Kushal explained to me that I didn't know, is that the Constitution is not really written for free speech, which I think is a problem. I think it's a fundamental problem.
Yeah, I saw your podcast with him as well, yeah.
Yeah, I think if you don't correct that, and I'm always going to speak for comedy because that's the thing I know better than anybody, pretty much. You can't have, just either don't have comedy or change the Constitution, or just don't have comedy. It's fine. Don't have stand-up. Just don't have it.
We're gonna go nuts without it, man.
No, you're not. It's alright. You're gonna go nuts with a bunch of G-rated comedy. If I would rather not have Disney movies are great. Mm-hmm. If all I could ever watch was Disney movies nonstop, I would rather not have movies. Just don't. We'll figure out something else. But don't flood me with Disney.
So what do you have planned for this year? Just the tour?
Yeah, the tour. I'm on the road a lot. I hopefully do more episodes of my podcast that we're just calling the Akaash Singh Show for now. Mm-hmm. We had a couple episodes that we couldn't put out that I recorded in India because of whatever, because of legal stuff. So maybe re-record those or just put those out later. Keep doing that. Keep doing Flagrant. Yeah, that's it. That's the plan. Yeah, it's busy, but it's good.
Awesome, man. You're my first podcast in America. And I have a good primer to what to expect.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're going to be followed by a bunch of strippers. So I don't know what that is going to be like, but It's going to be interesting, man. I will say I love your crowd work.
Thank you so much.
I love your comedy.
Thank
I
you.
love that you give a fuck about India.
Thank you.
Not that you need to, because you're very fine, very comfortable here. You have a huge audience here. But that you are willing to actually go out of your way and try to understand some of the very complicated issues in our equally complicated society.
Thank you.
And your willingness to, in India, like, Kushal would never have a Kunal camera on.
Yeah, right.
So I think because you don't give a fuck about either side that much, you're willing to have those conversations.
Thank
and
you.
Actually, we don't have a centrist comedic voice in India. Either comedians are apolitical or they are not comedians. Or if they are political, they're generally on the supreme left, which is where Kunal is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there is a space for that. And I think
Kunal's too far left, even for me. I think I'm fairly centrist, but yeah, Kunal and I have actually argued a lot before this whole thing happened, and we'll still argue, I'm sure. But like, yeah, I think people think because I talked to him, I agree with him on it. I don't agree with him on a lot of stuff, and I tried to push back in the episode. I tried to push back with Kushal. I think that's important, and I think even in America, it's a little more. And people think I'm far right or I'm right wing or whatever. I don't think I am, but I try to give pushback to whoever. I think it's important. I don't think you have a good interview without some kind of pushback.
Sure, and if you think about it, if comedians are pushing back on an interview, what does that say about the state of journalism?
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. But man, thank you for your time.
Thank you, man. I
Thank you
appreciate it.
for coming to this studio and making this happen. People can obviously follow you. For those who don't know, Akaash Singh.
Yeah, Akaash.
Yes, this morning I was just like, okay, let me see his Instagram. I've done everything else. And for the life of me, I couldn't find you, man. And I was like, oh shit, he's shadow banned. Fuck.
It's insane that my email is my name, Akaash, and people will misspell it in the subject or they'll type that email and then in the body they'll be like, hey Akaash, and they'll misspell it, and I'll be like, how the fuck? And they'll be like offering me like, hey, we want to work with you, we want to do a tour with you, and I'm like, if you can't even spell my fucking name right, we're not gonna go on tour together.
Wait, but you have such a specific spelling.
Yeah.
It's not a common spelling, brother.
Yeah.
It's like you have actually put the A's in the middle. Usually the A's are at the start.
I don't know why my parents did it, but it works out for SEO, so I'm okay with it.
Wonderful.
But it is yeah, Akaash.
Yeah. Well, thank you, brother.
Thank you, man. Appreciate
Cheers.
it. God bless.